So what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a video breaking down my thread from Twitter that I put out yesterday. People seem to really appreciate what I had to say, so I just figured I would make this video bringing the whole thing to my YouTube audience. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably already seen this, but I just wanted to go ahead and do a video talking about it here on YouTube. So there has been a lot of controversy surrounding the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super, shocker. And I just wanted to sort of establish some things that I think people are sort of jumping to conclusions about and not necessarily getting the whole picture. So the first thing I want to establish is that Goku, as a character, is a instinctual character. He does things by instinct. He's very, very similar to an animal in that way. Like, he does have some human-like features, but in terms of his decision making and in terms of his mindset and the way he goes about doing things in life, you can kind of think about it as a similar flow state to what Ultra Instinct is. Goku's always thinking about things in the present moment, and Toriyama himself has confirmed this. So when you see Goku acting a way that kind of seems odd, that's normally the answer for his behavior. So with that being said, due to the fact that he's in a flow state like this, he doesn't think extremely deeply about things. He's just constantly jumping from one thing to the other, and so, which is due to the fact that he's a representation of the monkey mind, that makes perfect sense. He's just constantly jumping from one thought to the next, and he's not putting much thought into things except for in the moment. When he's in the moment, he's very intelligent. He can come up with a solution to problems very quickly, but in terms of like sitting and pondering on things for a long period of time, that's out of character for Goku. And so the story has always sort of catered to this aspect of his character. And the first thing I want to talk about is Goku's experience with meditation. Now, Goku's experience with meditation started with Popo. And what Popo taught Goku was how to still the heart. Due to the fact that Goku is based on Sun Wukong, he is also a metaphorical representation of the heart itself. And Dragon Ball actually plays on this a lot, believe it or not. But, so the first thing he taught him, the main thing he taught him, was how to still the heart. Now, this is Goku's understanding of meditation. And when I say understanding, I say that word loosely because, as you'll see here in just a minute, Goku didn't really have to put any thought into this, because when you meditate, that's not actually really the goal. The goal is sort of to relax and de-stress and basically promote a healthy body and a healthy mind. And if you look here, I sort of break down the benefits of meditation in real life: the enhanced concentration, the control of your emotions, the reduced stress, the increased awareness, the faster reaction time, and emotional resilience. So essentially, like, the idea is that it makes it harder for people to crack your emotions. And that's essentially all of the benefits that Goku experiences with what he does here with Popo. And you'll actually get to see that firsthand when he goes into the tournament after he trains with Kami. He seems like a very different person. He's very calm. And the reason for that is this is following his fight with King Piccolo. If you'll notice the fight between Piccolo and King Piccolo, there's like some parallels there, because Goku kills Piccolo when his heart is pumping and he's in a survival situation, having to take advantage of his fight or flight reflexes. And whenever he fights Piccolo, Goku sort of has more control over who he is, and he has been through this training process and created a better connection between his body and his mind and his spirit, and so he's calmer and he is enlightened in a way. And there's actually some symbolism to reference that. Goku holding the red umbrella, wearing the turban and all that stuff. The red umbrella, Geekdom 101 did a video about how the red umbrella represents enlightenment. I would recommend that video for sure. Goku's experience with meditation is just not what people think it is. They think that it's something that it's not, and I'm going to get more into that here in just a minute. So meditation essentially causes everything that I just mentioned, and that is the reason that Popo mentions here that, you know, the air movement, your instincts, your feelings, all that stuff is important, because when you meditate, it increases the effect of all of these things and helps your senses, you know, work with this flow state. So that's essentially the idea, is that meditation helps you efficiently work with this flow state that you're going into whenever you're in combat. Now, This was a pretty controversial statement from Vegeta, where he talks about how Jiren, Broly, Moro, Gas, and Frieza are all above him in a certain sense. And I just want to acknowledge that. And also, Goku talking about focusing on the body. Goku focusing on the body has never really been a bad thing. It's just the next step of his training is centered around the mind. But I'll get into that here in just a few minutes. But essentially, the idea here is that Jiren, he has instinctual movements due to the fact that he's doing something similar to what Vegeta is here. Broly can do it, as established in the film. If you actually go back and watch the movie, you'll see that. And if you read the novel, it says that he has infinite stamina. So if you go back and look, like, Broly is also doing this, but he's doing it out of instinct. He is not calm in the way that I've been describing in this video, but his body, due to the fact that he is in a state of fight or flight, and he's the legendary Super Saiyan, automatically, on its own, without Broly having to train to do it, fluctuates, basically manages all this for him, and causes him to fight in the most efficient way possible. And Frieza, after Golden Frieza, this isn't shocking at all. He literally spent all that time in hell meditating. Then he spent all that time in the time chamber. There's a whole episode where he literally talks about how he's regulated his energy levels and all this stuff. So Frieza's not shocking at all. Gas isn't shocking, and Moro isn't either, because they're both ancient martial artists. So like, I really don't understand why this was so controversial, but it was. So essentially, all of Goku's character development is centered around the use of the body through calming the mind. And anybody who's been watching the series should know this. That's literally been the center focus of his training throughout most of the series. And in terms of his training as a martial artist, that has been his development as a martial artist through most of the series. And that's why Ultra Instinct is a sort of catered to Goku as a character, not just due to the fact that he's based on a Taoist Buddhist deity, and this idea of no-mindedness directly comes from Taoism itself, but also like Sun Wukong, all this stuff, like this is directly catered to the themes of Goku's character. And that's the reason that it seems like such a natural progression, because it literally does cater to the themes of who he is an individual. And Vegeta is the same way. So much like how I was stating that Broly automatically, like, basically does what he needs to out of instinct in combat, the point of Ultra Instinct is to also automatically put this Goku in the state that Vegeta has described in the last chapter to perform well in combat. It's the exact same thing, and Jiren actually calls attention to that whenever he sees Goku in Ultra Instinct Omen for the first time. I want to call attention to the fact that Goku says unnecessary emotions, okay? Because in this state, not yet in the Mastered Ultra Instinct state, he's still, despite the fact that he has a calm heart and a calm mind, he's like, his emotions are still there. It's just that he's getting rid of unnecessary ones. He's controlling the emotions that are still there in order to tap into the correct form of Ultra Instinct. And another really cool thing I want to point out is the fact that this my heart's as calm as the gentle streams of Mount Paozu. I want to point out that is a direct reference to Grandpa Gohan, who essentially ingrained Goku with the nature that would make him destined to be capable of Ultra Instinct, which is, I think, is a really cool thing that a lot of people overlook. So this panel points out a few things. It points out that the point of meditation in reference to what Goku did with Popo and Vegeta here is to just relax and cause the body to promote healthy chi flow, very similar to chakra meditation. By relaxing yourself and creating a deeper connection between your mind, your body, and your spirit, you basically promote a healthy flow of chi through your body, because the stress and anxiety and everything that you experience inside and outside of battle prevents you from being able to use your energy very well. Now, I want you to notice here that Vegeta does not understand himself why he is able to put off more power or perform the way that he is. And that is very, very important to take note of, simply because it shows that you don't have to have a ridiculous understanding of the concepts of meditation to be able to correctly implement it or use it, which is why when people get upset about Goku supposedly learning some form of meditation, Goku's only experience with meditation is him simply putting it into practice due to being instructed by Mr. Popo and then benefiting from it. And that's exactly what's happening here with Vegeta. And that's why I included this panel here, because you can actually see that Goku is saying, hey, am I just going to be holding still like this? And Popo says you must train your spirit. And that is where we are left off in the manga. We are not shown anything else in terms of Popo teaching Goku anything. In the anime, they do expand on this quite a bit. But in the manga, this is it. Popo just puts Goku up to basically meditating. Goku doesn't have a ridiculously great understanding of it. He just understands that this is going to benefit him, and he naturally and instinctually puts it into practice and is rewarded for it. And Vegeta is the same way. It's the exact same thing. So neither of them are extremely consciously aware of the complicated concepts that surround meditation. They just know how to put it into practice and benefit from it. So here I'm basically just trying to point out what exactly it's going to take for Goku and Vegeta to always be an Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego. And I'm also pointing out that Whis and Beerus are mind and body themed characters themselves, because of course, Whis functions freely from his mind in combat, and Beerus relies on his mind to perform by perceiving nothing but destruction. And so they are mind and body themed characters themselves. But in order for Goku and Vegeta to be able to constantly be in the individual states that they want to take advantage of, Ultra Ego is about submersing yourself in a state of fight or flight so you can think about nothing but destruction, and Goku is about separating your mind from your ability to do that completely and allowing your body to just function on its own. So the two techniques are direct opposites in that way, which is why Whis and Beerus' paths, the paths that they are laying down for Goku and Vegeta, are distinctly different, which is why it's really not that big of a deal that Goku didn't catch on to the idea that he needs to think and think and think and think and think to move to the next step of his use of Ultra Instinct, because it's not productive to what he's trying to do naturally. So the idea that he is somehow dumb for not figuring this out is silly. Now, I just want to quickly explain what exactly Goku does when he meditates. So essentially what he does is he uses meditation to create a suspended state of emotional resilience and emotional control to where he can use Ultra Instinct for long periods of time. So essentially the idea is he is trying to achieve a state of mind where he is completely emotionally resilient. He's not going to be extremely sensitive to stimuli in his surroundings in terms of like experiencing unnecessary emotions. He's essentially keeping himself calm for long periods of time, so whenever he does implement Ultra Instinct, this is what helps him do it for suspended periods of time in base, because instead of maintaining the mindset actively, he's just meditating to put himself into a state where it's easier for him to maintain it. And that's why you'll see that when Goku meditates, he's doing it exactly like he did with Popo. He's essentially just taking what Popo taught him and putting it into practice. And the results of it are him being able to essentially use Ultra Instinct in base. So this is half of what Goku needs to be an efficient warrior in Ultra Instinct and to be able to use it all the time. Now, in the Granola Arc, these two branches for each character were hinted at. Vegeta actually tells Goku to use his mind to dodge, and if you remember, Vegeta did that in the TOP against Jiren. But one thing I wanted to point out here is that something that a lot of people overlook is the symbolism here in the Granola Arc, and specifically in reference to Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego and the foreshadowing that hints at them coming. So, for example, Granola can sense blood flow and muscle movements and things like that. And then whenever Goku goes into Ultra Instinct, he can't sense any vital points. And the reason for that is because Goku is in such a relaxed state that he can't find his heartbeat. He can't find all of his blood pressure or all these like muscle movements and stuff like that. He can't find that because Goku is in a calm state of mind. And when Goku finally does get hit by Granola, it's because he is a Saiyan, and by nature, when Saiyans start fighting, their heart starts beating, and so the first thing that Granola finds when he's looking for a target is Goku's heart. And so, due to the fact that their heart starts beating, that actually perfectly describes why Goku's accuracy drops over time when he's in Ultra Instinct, because he's a Saiyan, and essentially his Saiyan nature is working against his use of Ultra Instinct. And we get a direct nod at this right after Goku gets beaten by Granola, because what caused Goku to get knocked out by Granola is what Vegeta uses to his advantage whenever he goes into Ultra Ego, and that's the effect that happens when their heart starts pumping and they go to a state of fight or flight. Their ego, their survival instincts, and their monkey mind all send them into the state to protect themselves. And so that is what Vegeta is taking advantage of in combat, is the exact opposite thing, the one thing that caused Goku to be able to be knocked out of Ultra Instinct. That is what Vegeta is taking advantage of to have the upper hand against Granola, which is extremely interesting. Vegeta does a great job explaining the difference here if you understand exactly like the themes and stuff that they're playing with. Goku's body has a mind of its own. Vegeta is all ego, and ego is essentially, it's a part of your survival instincts. It represents your identity. It also represents your body's need, its instinctual need to protect your identity and your life and ensure your survival. So that's what Vegeta is taking advantage of here, is his survival instincts. Now, another cool thing that I think people overlook is this interaction between Goku and Gas and how it reflects the interaction between Bardock and Gas later on in the future. So one thing I think is really cool is that this essentially establishes that Super Saiyan Blue is essentially calm rage. It's still a form fueled by rage, like Super Saiyan, but you ever seen somebody that's like extremely angry, but they're also extremely calm? Super Saiyan Blue is essentially a representation of that idea, and this does a great job explaining that to people. But right here, Goku explains that anger specifically is an emotion that messes with his special move, and I want you to keep in mind that he specifies anger is an emotion that messes with his special move and not emotions in general. And there's a reason for that, and that is because whenever Bardock is facing Gas later on in the series, he is using his emotions to his advantage, or his survival instincts, because your instincts and your emotions and everything are connected. But he's only using the necessary emotions he needs in combat by embracing his survival instincts to defeat Gas. So this scene right here is a direct acknowledgement of the fact that Goku in his version of Ultra Instinct is not using rage. He's just using the necessary emotions he needs to perform in combat. And right here, Bardock confirms this because he's taking advantage of the same thing that Vegeta took advantage of for Ultra Ego. He's taking advantage of his fight or flight state, his survival instincts. And as he is fighting Gas, the reason that he can tame his emotions is because he is submersing himself into this feeling and essentially just focusing on nothing but survival in a very similar way to Ultra Instinct is thinking about nothing and controlling your emotions, and Ultra Ego is about thinking about nothing but destruction. Here, Bardock is thinking about nothing but survival, and that is causing him to push himself to his limits and evolve and grow, and that is essentially what Saiyans are all about. And this is what Goku ends up using to craft his own version of Ultra Instinct. So here we get our first hint at what Vegeta needs to do to more efficiently use Ultra Ego. This is what the meditation is for. So essentially the idea is, right here, Vegeta is thinking about nothing but surviving after seeing Bardock, and that causes him to be able to instinctually fire back one good time whenever he's fighting Gas. But if he can implement meditation and training his monkey mind into this concept, he can be a more efficient fighter when he's in a state of fight or flight, and he can create instinctual movements in his mind, and he will automatically fire back like this every time somebody hits him. And so the stimulant that Vegeta is talking about here is his fight or flight reflexes, or his survival instincts, or his ego. Like, that's the more that you put his body in danger, the more it seems like he's on the verge of death, the stronger he gets. So that's essentially what Vegeta is going to take advantage of to focus on nothing but destruction from now on. He has his own way of doing so, just like Goku has his own version of Ultra Instinct. So the idea here is that the ego and your survival instincts, the monkey mind, all that stuff is connected, and all of that stuff is a reflection of Sun Wukong as a character, and it's also a reflection of Goku's identity. Remember, the ego literally represents your identity. So the fact that they caused Goku to be able to use his ego in Ultra Instinct by embracing his identity and who he is as an individual is not only genius wordplay, it's also just ridiculously cool storytelling, in my opinion. So essentially what Goku is saying here is he knows as a Saiyan, his heart just starts going crazy in battle. So that's what he's going to take advantage of. He's going to try and maintain a calm mind, but he's going to take advantage of what makes Saiyan special, and that is their heart beating rapidly in battle and using their emotions to guide their movements. As Goku embraces who he is, he figures out that this is the best transformation to make use of his power, and he decides to put his emotions to use for him through his survival instincts. And that is the reason that Gas sees Bardock in Goku, because Goku has basically submerged himself into the same state that Bardock did when he defeated Gas all those years ago. And you'll see here that when Goku gets hit, much like I said with Ultra Ego and the future development of Ultra Ego, his body automatically fires back as it needs to, and this is what Vegeta needs to get down. Now Goku, you'll notice here, when he's fighting Gas, he fights very similar to a great ape. He fights very, very similar to an ape. And that is because he's using his base instincts. He's using his body's primitive programming from the existence of the Saiyan race for thousands of years to respond to Gas. And that brings us to the current situation amongst the fans. So the reason that Goku is so shocked that Vegeta is meditating is because, again, the form of meditation that Goku uses is counterproductive to what Vegeta is trying to do. But Vegeta has figured out a way to implement meditation, and that is through thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. Okay? So what he is doing here, and also this thing about Vegeta talking about how their bodies have reached their limits, that's not shocking because they can both withstand Destroyer Chi and Angel Chi, so I'm pretty sure that that's what's being referenced here. But, so what's happening here, Vegeta is not only putting into practice what the Yardrats taught him, but this is by essentially, staying calm and relaxing while he's doing this form of training that he's doing. But this is a different type of meditation altogether than what he did on Yardrat. On Yardrat, he was just trying to promote healthy flow of energy in his body. But with this, is what he's doing is he is instinctually imprinting in the ability for him to efficiently fight in his mind. So what he's doing is he's thinking about some scenarios over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. These fighting styles, these moves. He's thinking about what he needs to defeat his opponent in combat over and over and over again. And I know that sounds like image training, but it's not image training because image training they only do in spurts. What he's doing here is he's doing it to the point that it is ingrained into his brain. It's like the muscle memory of the mind. So he is essentially training his mind to do exactly what he wants it to do when he needs it to do it. Very similar to that attack that you see Jiren do where he throws like so many punches that Goku has to like find his way through it. He is doing that on command without any effort because he has programmed his mind to do that. And the fact that Jiren had no understanding of Goku throwing away unnecessary emotions when they fought in the Tournament of Power just goes to show you that this is a completely different form of meditation than what Goku uses, because we all know that Jiren meditates, and yet he had no understanding of what Goku was doing with Ultra Instinct, and Goku used what he learned in meditation to use said Ultra Instinct. So what Vegeta is using here is not even close to the same thing to what Goku has done with meditation in the past, and it's something that Goku has absolutely no understanding of. And that is the reason that Whis is like half justified in his judgment of Goku. I do think that he is overly harsh. That is one criticism that I do agree with amongst the fans. I don't think that that Dragon Ball should be going out of its way to make Whis so harsh on Goku because it's just not cool. He doesn't deserve it. He's very, very good. But I do understand what Whis is trying to say here. He's trying to say, instead of just working on your muscle memory all the time, you need to do what Vegeta's doing and then put it into practice through your muscle memory. And another thing to point out here is that Broly is not aware of this concept in base. He was only aware of this concept in his Ikari state, in his instinctually dominated forms, and that's the reason that Broly has no understanding of this concept in base here, and after he learns to control his rage, he can learn to do it without relying on Ikari or his instincts as a Saiyan to do it for him. And that is sort of the development I see for Broly going forward, is learning about all of these concepts that Goku and Vegeta are learning in terms of improving muscle memory and meditating. He's going to end up watching Goku and Vegeta, monkey see, monkey do. He's going to see what they're doing, and he's going to emulate it. So just to make it abundantly clear, Right here, Vegeta says that he is training his mind to do what he needs to do. Now just take a second to look at the explanation for Ultra Instinct, and you will see that the Ultra Instinct state is about not allowing your mind to control your movement and instead let your body judge every action on its own. So these two things are not the same thing, okay? These are not the same concepts, and the massive fit that people were throwing over it is just completely unnecessary if you look at everything within context. Now, again, I do think that Whis was a bit harsh on Goku. Overall, I understand what's going on here. Whis is trying to teach Goku to ingrain moves in his mind, like Vegeta, so he can then put them in practice in fights against Vegeta or whoever, ingrain said moves into his muscle memory. And then once he decides to stop using his mind, after so much practice with these moves that he's ingrained into his mind, they'll become second nature, and he can use these efficient moves in combat as an Ultra Instinct user. I understand what Whis is trying to say. Now, if you understood it, that's awesome. But if you did not understand it, and you're judging Goku for not having this eureka moment, then why are you upset if you didn't understand the concept yourself? Because it's not an easy concept to grasp. This is not near as simple as people make it as it's made out to be. And if you don't understand it, I don't blame you at all, because Dragon Ball Super actually does sort of, it is more demanding of the reader in terms of having an understanding of martial arts and things like that. So actually, I do understand why it's not an easy concept to grasp, not only for the fans, but for Goku. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I plan on doing plenty more videos like this, going over stuff like this in the future. I really appreciate all my subscribers. I noticed I had a huge uptick in subscribers lately. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys in the next video. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.